Andrea Mitchell. She has been the chief foreign correspondent at NBC News since 1994. She's also the host of Andrea Mitchell Reports on MSNBC. One of the most highly respected journalists in the nation, Andrea first joined the network back in 1978. Her fearless coverage of politics, foreign policy, intelligence, and national security has helped audiences better understand the most critical issues in our world. She recently led the network's coverage of Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. Informally known as the Dean of the Clinton Press Corps, Andrea has reported on the Clintons for more than 2 decades. Andrea is now covering her 7th presidential administration, dating back to Ronald Reagan. Her many foreign assignments have included exclusive reports from North Korea, Afghanistan, the Middle East, Bosnia, Kosovo, Pakistan, and Haiti. And who can forget her superb coverage of our complex relationship with Cuba, with unprecedented access to Fidel Castro that led to a terrific 1-hour documentary. She is clearly a giant of broadcasting, and in the words of her colleagues, a once-in-a-lifetime journalist. Andrea Mitchell.
Well, thanks to Bill Whitaker, who is a true giant in our profession. Joyce, thank you for presenting this award to Ginny Hubbard-Morris and the library, and Jack Myers and Linda Iaccarino of NBC Universal, who is a member of this IERTS board. Thank you all so very much. Huge thanks also to my colleagues at NBC Universal, Andy Lack, Noah Oppenheim, Phil Greffin of NBC, my Washington Bureau Chief, Ken Strickland, and all of you for keeping me on the team, for giving me the privilege of being with you every day. To my colleagues, my friends here, my fellow honorees, all of whom are superstars, especially the one I know best. I first met him in a rather awkward fashion. I came into my office in the DC Bureau one day back in 1988, and there was this kid sitting at my computer. And before throwing him out, I at least paused long enough to ask him what he was doing at my desk. And he told me he was a sports researcher for Katie Couric, my pal down the hall, working with her and helping her prepare for the Seoul Olympics. Fortunately, Jeff Zucker doesn't hold a grudge. So when that boy wonder became the executive producer of the Today Show at the age of 26, and not many years later, the president of all of NBC, he didn't hold that against me. So Jeff, congratulations to you, a true giant of broadcasting, a friend, and a mentor for so many years. Thinking about what I might share with my younger self or the young people whom you mentor here, it strikes me that it is to approach every day, every single day, with the same eagerness and enthusiasm and energy that we first had when we first entered a newsroom. And for me, that was in Philadelphia. Many years ago, when I talked the bosses at Westinghouse Broadcasting to hire an inexperienced young college grad as the first woman copy boy at an all-news radio station, KYW, all news all the time. It was on the night shift to minimize the disruption of having a woman in the newsroom. So flash forward 50 years, and the 2016 campaign for NBC and MSNBC fielded an all-star team of women correspondents, plus Jacob Soboroff. These were our road warriors. They are now our best and our brightest. They are our White House correspondents, our congressional correspondents. They were in the field in Alabama last night. They are everywhere. They are anchoring on MSNBC, they're filling in on all kinds of shows. And now we have a best-selling author amongst us. Katie Tur's book about her experiences covering Donald Trump from day one is debuting on Sunday on the New York Times list as number 2. It is, I have to tell you, Unbelievable, which is the title. It is a funny and a breathtakingly honest account of what it was like to cover Donald Trump and be bullied by him in many ways, and also to be a woman coming to the campaign with fresh eyes as a former foreign correspondent. It's an experience that Leslie, a true giant, Leslie, and Judy and my understudy self back in those days in the Reagan White House would have found unimaginable in the days when most of the boys on the bus really were boys. Not that we have finally arrived, because there's still a lot of work to do on diversity and inclusion in our newsrooms and in our business. In fact, for all of us in journalism, we really gather here today at a critical time, a challenging time, as events from national disasters to potential nuclear showdowns and foreign interference in our elections are unfolding so rapidly, we can barely pause long enough to keep up with the latest Trump tweet. It sometimes feels as though we are all suffering from a national case of attention deficit disorder as we try to keep up with the explosion of breaking news on all fronts, trying to reach new audiences on evolving platforms without jumping to conclusions or losing sight of the audiences we already serve. In what seems like a return to the glory days of broadcast and cable news, despite the relentless pressure to keep up, a word of caution. I think we have to resist conventional wisdom about outcomes and remain open to new conclusions, to keep digging and prying and pushing back as we try to disentangle a very complex web of facts, always remembering that first and foremost, we are journalists and we are storytellers. And as we learn the facts will eventually inform our stories. Finally, today, I am so grateful because being among you really helps reinforce my belief in our essential mission as journalists. As a journalist, I am including in all of you today this community of journalists because those of you in the business end and sales are all helping keep this enterprise going and helping to keep those of us on the front lines of reporting to do what we like to do best. And finally, the lesson is that we are not the enemies of the people. We are the eyes and the ears of the people. So, in thanking you for this honor today, it's my hope, it's my prayer that we remain energized by the challenges that we face as citizens of a great nation, the greatest nation on earth, and in our role as broadcasters, keeping on and helping to inform the people we serve. Thank you all so very much.